Welcome everybody to Real Raw Health with your host, Nikki Burnett of Taste Life Nutrition and myself, Matt Rowe of Parsley Pet. During our show, we are talking about your pet's health, raw feeding, and the health our pets bring to us with love. And we also talk a little bit about human health as well. So welcome, Nikki, to this week's show.
Thank you. Thank you. As always, I'm excited. And yeah, it's hard to talk animal nutrition or dog nutrition without bringing in a little bit of our own, because they're pretty connected in ways, and in ways they're not. So, but that's why we discuss this, right?
That's right. That's why we do this.
That's why we do it.
So with everything going on, we were talking pre-show a little bit about nutrition, and we were talking about probiotics and what we were going to do today in the show. And of course, probiotics came up. And so it is an essential piece to really boost your immune system. And it's really, got my attention now because they're seeing positive results with autoimmune patients with autoimmune conditions with certain bacterial strains. So for example, P. histicola has improved individuals with multiple sclerosis. And so they're seeing a positive outcome with actually boosting your gut microbiome. And so really what we want to talk about today is your dog and how do you actually boost your dog's immune system with summer coming up, exposure to so many things from fleas to ticks to heartworm to all the pathogens that are out there today. How do you boost your dog's immune system to actually give them every opportunity to support themselves and heal? So right. What kind of things do you do in regards to boosting probiotics? Do you use an over-the-counter probiotic, or do you go after it into a different format of using foods and that type of stuff?
I mix it up. And I like to mix it up. Yeah. And so I think one thing, and I'm saying this based on human nutrition. And so I'm assuming, which isn't always smart, but that animals, that their microbiome is similar. So for humans, upward of 70% of our immune system is based around our microbiome. And so it's a huge part of our immune system. It's a huge part of our mental and emotional health. And so, yeah, probiotics are so important. And so in my mind, I want to give them in all ways that I can, just like I would for myself and just like I would for my clients. So yeah, I have supplements that I give, and I'll mix it up and do some supplements. But then I'll also do sauerkraut. If I make sauerkraut or if I buy sauerkraut, as long as I'm careful with the ingredients. So if it's just cabbage, or, we want to be careful of onions, and there are things that we want to be really careful of. But if it's just cabbage, it's great. We've talked about the raw goat milk and letting raw goat milk sit on the counter. It's going to ferment, and it may smell terrible to us, but they love it. And it brings in all kinds of different bacteria that are going to be beneficial for them and beneficial for their little bellies. And of course, their immune system. So yeah, I really mix it up. And you and I had a conversation about this a while back is, potentially as they're eating the grasses and as they eat, mine will eat cabbage and not cabbage, kale. Like I wish I had the picture, but there's a picture of them, all three of them in my garden at the end of the season last year, just eating up my kale. And a lot of it's eating the stalks. And so you had made the comment that, and I would assume that it's soil organisms that are on these plants. And that's a big part too. It's an important type of organism, or probiotic, are these soil organisms. And so I've given, those in supplement form, but also they're doing it on their own by eating grass and eating the things out of the yard that they love to eat.
You made up a great point. So when you look at soil health, and I studied soil health for a couple of years, and this is, as you walk down that road, this is where our fruits and vegetables are getting their actual nutrient value, is from the bacteria in the soil. So when you have good, strong biodiverse soils that is just alive with, I mean, your ground should be alive. And that's why adding chemicals or fertilizers at any point during your growth process is actually hurting the actual nutrients inside your vegetables.
Mhm.
But for your dog, you'll find that they'll eat dirt, and they'll eat, and they indirectly get it. So if Leo was wild, he would kill a rabbit in the field and eat the rabbit. So he's getting fur, bone, organ meat, muscle meat, everything in regards to his total nutrition diet. But he's also indirectly getting bacteria from the soil, because no way, it's not like he's killing the animal and putting it on a plate and putting it into a clean environment. No, he's eating it right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And so with that, yeah, he's getting all these microbes in the soil. And so that's interesting that you say they ate your kale. So if you ever gone to the grocery store, Nikki, and seen, like, it looks like a white powder on top of cabbage or on top of kale or all that type of stuff, or even in your own garden, you almost see like a white
I
film.
think more in the garden. I don't know that I've seen it at the grocery store that I remember.
And what that is microbiota. So it's a level of bacteria that's on there. So that's interesting that they ate the kale, because they were indirectly, really ingesting the actual bacterial strains that they may have needed, or
Yeah.
instinctively known, yeah, we should eat a little bit of this.
Mhm.
Just, it's not like it's all the time, but they do eat a little bit of it to
Mhm.
actually settle a stomach. And that's where, I think they eat grass to settle their stomachs a little bit,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
to throw up if they've
Mhm.
eaten something that's causing them an issue. So yeah, so I mean, they're getting bacteria from their environment, but what kills it is, of course, anytime they take an antibiotic.
Mhm.
So you are killing their antibiotics. So what are your thoughts? I've heard of this, that if you do have to give your dog antibiotics, or even for us as humans, if we have to take
Mhm.
antibiotics, it's taking probiotics while you're taking antibiotics.
Yeah, so I think there is a smart way of doing it. So antibiotics are really they're gonna kill any bug, good or bad.
Right.
For humans, there's good data on a type of probiotic. It's a type of yeast called Saccharomyces boulardii, that has been shown to be beneficial while taking antibiotic therapy. So you take the antibiotic, and then you spread it out, and you take the probiotic, and then you take the antibiotic, and then you take the probiotic, right? And so you're cycling. And so with my guys, girls, whatever, that's what I try to do. And for dogs, Saccharomyces boulardii, they're not colonizing. I don't think they're colonizing for people either. A lot of probiotics are not colonizing, they're transient, so they move through the system, but that's okay. They're still doing their job as they're moving through the system. But so yeah, for humans, for dogs, there is data for humans. I don't know if there's data for dogs, but it's what I do. But I do know too, if I have to have them on antibiotic therapy, as soon as they're off, I'm loading them up on every different type I can. So I'll do the goat milk, I'll do the fermented food, or the sauerkraut, I'll do the some probiotics, I'll do the high strain and high, like 25 billion, 50 billion, whatever it is, lots. And I'll load them up. I'll really load them up, because we don't want to see the bad bacteria taking over, because that's what can happen. And that's what I see in practice with my clients a lot. And it's really sad, because it messes with your mental and emotional health. It messes with your physical health and your immune system. And it can actually, like you said, with autoimmune disease, it can create disease. If the right bugs can help to eliminate or resolve or help with symptoms of disease, the wrong bugs can certainly increase the incidence of disease. And these are a lot of things that we're still learning and understanding. And I know this is where I'm going to get in a little deeper than, I'm just going to put it out there, a little deeper than I know right now. But I want this, this is the research that I want to do for dogs. But there's good research out there on different types of bugs that can help dogs with mood issues, with anxiety disorder, with rage and attacking and things like that. So understanding your dog and its needs, and not just assuming it's a bad dog, and then doing the research, which is what I need to do so I can present it to you, and understanding those types of strains that can help your dog, because that's what we want to do. It's what we want to do with our family. We want to help them. We don't want to punish them. We want to help them. And so I got a little off topic when it comes to, anyway, it's not off topic. It's totally on topic.
It's not off topic.
So, but anyway, yeah, it's super important. And, you know, just to, I guess, put it out there, and, you know, we give there's already a lot of stressors that we do to our dogs. We give vaccinations yearly, at least. We give monthly flea and tick, and this isn't everybody, and it's not us, but this is what most people do. Give monthly flea and tick, even when it's cold outside. What else do? We give heartworm medication. So it's this constant just banging on the immune system. And then, you know, we do this, and the immune system is then just upregulated, and just this is why a lot of our dogs are getting sick, is because we're doing so much at one time. But we're told that's what we're supposed to do by the people who know animals best.
Right. And, you know, and when I got certified in like nutrition and all this type of stuff for dogs, they had mentioned in there, and I love that they had done this, is that your gut microbiota, your flora inside your gut and your colon and everything that is actually the basis of your immune system is a forgotten organ, is how they phrased it. So if you look at bacteria inside your body, it outnumbers your cells 100 to 1. And I've had doctors tell me it's much bigger than 100 to 1. They're like, but to wrap your mind around it, it's how much bacteria. It's on our skin, it's on your dog, it's on their tongue, it's in their eyes, it's all around them is bacteria. So, but it's good bacteria. This is a bacteria that's feeding their brain and our brains as well. So, I mean, that's something that concerns me during this whole COVID thing. How many times do we wash our hands? How many times do we use hand sanitizer? And
oh my gosh,
off of it. And this is just that important bacteria that we need to eat. So I have a great story. So I had the opportunity to meet Yvon Chouinard from Patagonia. This is the owner of Patagonia. He started it, and it's eating dinner with him and his wife. And as we're eating dinner, we got talking about the health and food and how important it is for our environment. We got on this topic, and he tells me in this thick Austrian accent, I would tell my kids not to wash their hands after playing, to come in and just eat. Well, what he was doing indirectly is he was basically putting good bacteria inside the body. Now, I'm not saying don't wash your hands. Wash them, protect yourself, do all that type of stuff, but be conscious of all the bacteria that's around us that's good and bad, but there's more good bacteria than I think bad out there in the environment.
Yeah. Well, and I love that point, because we are, oh man, the spiral that we're going down as far as our you know, microbiome health, and this over sanitizing. You know, we've been over sanitizing for years anyway, years. And so we got a couple of things we want to think about. So you're putting it on your skin. Your skin is an organ, and it's going to absorb everything that's on it. So you can think about what it is. So it's eliminating bugs, sometimes necessary, totally understood. It is also potentially full of toxins, hormone disruptors. And so these are things that we're now told that we need to do all the time. I'm not saying don't, but we still need to know the facts. That if we're doing this all the time, again, just like we do with our dogs, we're inundating our body with these negative killers, essentially. It's killing the good bugs. So we've got our microbiome, and then our microbiota. So microbiota, you got your gut microbiota, your oral microbiota. So it's kind of your little, all your different microbiotas create your microbiome. And so you're damaging your skin microbiota potentially. And then your gut microbiota, because it's going through the gut. So it's so much. And we're so afraid that we're just doing it all the time. And so we just just be aware, you know, if this is something that is necessary for you, you need to figure out a way to reverse that. So take your probiotics, make your own coconut yogurt, make your own sauerkraut, buy sauerkraut, whatever you want to do. There's so many fermented foods out there right now that it's easy to get hold of if you don't want to make your own. And so we need to really start to load ourselves and our dogs with good, healthy bugs, because we're just killing them left and right. And I'm afraid, I truly am. I've thought about this for a while. What is going to happen in our world in 5-10 years with this immense amount of sanitizing? It's unnerving. I mean, besides all of the other things that could be happening 5 or 10 years, right?
Right.
So we've got to figure out a way to reverse it somehow with what we have to do, reverse it and balance it, right? What we have to do to protect ourselves, but then what we have to do to truly protect ourselves.
So what can I do if, you know, really we're supposed to be aware of it and concerned about it? If I'm watching this right now, I might be like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, okay, great, I'm watching this. But really is, what would Nikki Burnett do, or what do you do now in regards to your dog's safety and your own safety? You are going to wash hands because you're in the medical world. And so really you have clientele that you're working with. So yeah, you are keeping a clean environment. It's not like your pig pen and you have dirt all over your face and all like dirt all over your hands.
Only when I'm in the garden.
Look very well put together, Nikki, like you're not doing that. So what kind of things do you do to help protect yourself today?
So I use I'll use alcohol. So there's the 90s, I think it's 80 to 90% of the isopropyl alcohol. That's isopropyl. Yeah. Anyway, that is, you know, good for cleaning surfaces. You can clean your hands with it. So, you know, and then, you know, vinegar is not good for this virus. I get that. But when I clean, I use vinegar. When I'm just cleaning the house, I use vinegar. I put it in my wash, essential oils, or, you know, some say yes, some say no. But if I have clients over, which really most of the time at this point, it's virtual. I do have a few that want to come in, but, you know, I'll use the alcohol and spray things down. But as far as I'm concerned, for myself, honestly, I take precautions for myself, but I'm not in a high risk category.
Yeah.
So I don't mind burdening my immune system a little bit, because I think that it's good to burden your immune system a little bit in a good way to build it. And so that's my opinion. That's my feeling on it for myself and my family. We believe the same thing. But then when it comes to the dogs, you know, we don't put chemicals in the ground. Oh, this is the coolest thing. You were talking about the earth being alive.
Yeah.
My gardens now, finally, when I go in and dig, it moves with earthworms. Like there's so many of them. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that last year, but it was getting there. And there's some massive ones. They're so big. So I get really, excited about it. But that's when you know it's healthy, right? You see these massive earthworms and you've got this really beautiful, healthy garden. And then the food comes up out of it and you're just like, yay. So.
Right. And that's what it should be. So you were talking about earlier, like you do fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, you know, whatever fermented vegetable that's out there, you're giving it, I would imagine you're eating it as well, and you're giving it to your dogs. So do you add a prebiotic element to your food?
So that's a little bit of a loaded question, but only because I know me. So
that's right.
I'll just tell you. So for me, yes, only because I've done my own testing and I know that there are some bugs that need to be supported. And so I have a prebiotic powder that I'll use on a regular basis. Actually, 2 of them that I'll use that I know support these different types of bacteria. So yeah, I'll use that. For the dogs, I don't. There was a time that I did, but I don't know enough about supporting their microbiome with prebiotics to when I'm already giving them vegetables and, sauerkraut's a vegetable with the, I mean, they're already getting some prebiotics in the food that they eat.
Right.
So, and so am I, but then I'm supporting more. So, yeah. So for me, yes. And for them, no.
And I've been told, like, thinking about it. So if anybody watching the show, you don't know what a prebiotic is this is the way it was explained to me. If you think of prebiotics as the soil, the probiotic is the plant. Mm-hmm. So really is that flora needs a place to actually grow and live, and supporting it along it. So when you talk about supporting your gut microbiota, yes, it's great to take probiotics, but if you have nowhere for it to live or to build its own, basically grow in its own bacterial strains, then it's really just passing through you. So really, in your, professional opinion, do you take a look at prebiotics in that way as the soil to actually go propagate a bacterial strain?
Well, the way that I explain it to people is it's the bug's food.
Okay.
It's really basically what it is. So it's what feeds the bugs. So the different types of fibers in different vegetables. So if we go back to human health, and well, right now we'll talk about human health. I'm trying to kind of extrapolate a little bit to animal health, but for us, and I say this a lot when I'm speaking, but the more diverse our vegetable intake, the more diverse our microbiome, because different types of fibers, sugars, starches in different types of vegetables feed different types of bugs. And so that's what we want. That's, when people come to me and they say, well, I eat really healthy and I work out all the time and I eat chicken and broccoli and rice, I'm like, it's not really healthy if that's all you're eating all the time, because we have to have diversity. And so, that's what I try to get. And that's, and I would say that for the dogs as well, but with meat, they need different sources of food. They didn't need different sources of meat. But, I do give vegetables on a pretty regular basis. Yeah, and it's always different kinds, it's pumpkin, lots of different cruciferous vegetables, sometimes carrots, beets, so I try to I diversify for me, I diversify for them, and then they're going to go and roll and eat dirt.
And indirectly get some of that, right? But yes, when you look at that, the vegetable matter, not only for humans, it's interesting. I went to my naturopath doctor today and she goes, 9 cups of vegetables a day. I'm like, holy shit. Like, how the hell am I going to eat that? So, but I mean, you're talking about those vegetable strains is actually what's helping grow that microbiota. So, and yes, your dog is a carnivore, so it maybe indirectly. So think like a dog. Think, when I'm feeding Leo and I'm going, okay, I want to increase his gut microbiota and help him out and help boost his immune system, I have to think like him. I'm like, all right, I'm wild. I come upon, a rabbit, I eat the rabbit, but indirectly I'm eating the soil on the ground, which is healthy soil if they were wild. And, they're going into that. So they're indirectly getting that bacterial strain. Also, they would maybe forage blueberries, raspberries. They're eating grass. They're eating kale. They're eating different various things that they do come upon that indirectly have bacterial strains. But a dog's bacterial strain and cultures are different than us as humans. Right. But so when we think about it from the human element, is that variety, like you said, I think is paramount.
Right. And going back, there's another point to that I just love, which is weird, but one of the first places they're going to go is they're going to go to the gut. And so they're going to eat what that animal ate, which is going to fill them with probiotics, fiber, and enzymes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's what one of the things they're missing when we feed them. They're not getting those things. So like you said, think like a dog, think of where they're going to get these things, how they get them, why they get them. And then we just do our best to replicate.
Yep. Well, and they're getting these, I mean, when they look at studies, when they reintroduce wolves into Wyoming, and I've mentioned this a few times, is the alpha wolf actually eats the tripe, which is the cow's intestines first. That is the first thing the head dog wants, is That's right, because of the phytonutrients. They're eating that vegetable matter that's been broken down, but that's where all the nutrients, that's where the heavy nutrients lie, is in that green tripe that essentially a ruminant animal is digesting. So then it goes bone and organ, and they're eating all those various things based on what they need, the muscle meat and all that. But really, when it comes to it, that phytonutrients and that bacteria that we're eating is so critical. Your dog even knows it. And so even for us or for our dogs, supporting our gut microbiota, I think, is key during this time to keep our dogs healthy. And if you actually have it, you're getting antibiotics or you're feeding antibiotics, definitely don't give up on the bacterial strains that you can eat.
Yeah. You gotta take it as seriously as you would take anything else when you give antibiotics for yourself or for your animals, because it really can create such an excessive amount of damage. And it's not like it's going to take forever for you to build their microbiome back up, but you want to be able to build it up because it will create the potential for creating disease, mental and emotional disorders is high enough. And so we want to be careful.
I wished I would have known it when they were overjuicing me with antibiotics. I mean, it was just one of those things that you just don't pay attention to. So we beg everybody that's watching this, pay attention to your gut microbiome. It is a forgotten organ. And so support it, help it, give it the prebiotics that it needs. Eat a variety of fruits and vegetables and probiotics that go down that strain, just to give it that variety to allow your body to support itself as much as possible during this time.
Yeah, agreed. Good stuff.
Cool. So how do people get a hold of you, Nikki? How do they come find you and get your wisdom?
So I am on Taste Like Nutrition. So the website's tastelikenutrition.com. The Facebook is Taste Like Nutrition. There's Twitter and Instagram is Taste Like Nut. So reach out, we do the radio shows, we do the Facebook lives. We just serve, our goal is to really get information out there and get truth out there and just give people the real deal. Because there's a lot of so much misinformation that we are trying to do our best to not do that.
And when we got on the show, I asked Nikki how her day was, and she goes, I've been recording all day. So Nikki is building a training program that really talks about human health and how to bolster. So keep your eye out. Taste Life Nutrition. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to start educating yourself on how to keep yourself as healthy as possible.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Thanks for that.
No, and I can't wait to see the course. So you can always follow us too. We're at parsleypet.com, and really know better in regards to how you're feeding your dog, and you can get a nutritional blueprint that'll test 48 different nutrients inside your dog's body, along with 7 heavy metals. And so when you do that, I want to make sure that you guys get $50 off the test. So definitely put in the code HealthyDog50 at checkout, or I think it's just, HealthyDog50 at checkout, and that'll get you $50 off the nutritional blueprint so you can test to make sure that you're feeding your dog the right way. Also, follow us on Instagram and follow us on Facebook. We are active, and we are definitely wanting to support your dog amongst every step of its journey.
It's amazing. Yeah, Parsley Pet has a ton of educational resources on their website. So go to it and keep watching us.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here today, and thanks for learning all about the gut microbiome.
All right, very good. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
We'll see you guys later.